Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another HD broadcast, and this will be a game from MLG Dallas Day 2, and it is going to be Nony playing as the Red Protoss. I guess he's changed his name now to Tyler, which is his first name, and so it is going to be the Red Protoss, Nony aka Tyler, versus PainUser. And I guess the matchup, you could call it Tyler versus Taylor, as PainUser's first name is Taylor. And Protoss versus Terran, a match that I don't cast all too often, but it is going to be casted right here, right now, and it is going to be on Xel'Naga Caverns, which I think is a pretty fair map. I actually like this map in general. Maybe the only matchup that I might have a little bit of issue with is ZVP. But as far as Protoss versus Terran goes, I think this is a pretty fair matchup, pretty standard, and nothing really out of the ordinary can really happen. The one thing that you do have to watch out for are these high bushes just behind your natural expansion, and if a player can get some Blue Flame Hellions, or I guess in this matchup it would only be Blue Flame Hellions, I was gonna say Banelings, but Blue Flame Hellions can sneak behind this and do some damage behind your economy. Drops are also very effective, as there's this nice little pathway behind your natural expansion, and that's one thing that you do have to watch out for if you're going to be going for that expo and you're not going to have any units to defend against any kind of aggression. The other thing on this map that I really do want to point out is, notice that PainUser is going to be shift queuing his SCV, just going to tag these Xel'Naga Watchtowers. Very good standard play right there. A lot of times players will just send out their scouting worker, but they won't check the Watchtowers, and that can really provide a lot of vision. It can tell you where, if your opponent's trying to proxy you or doing anything kind of fishy. But the other feature I want to mention on this map is these narrow choke points right here, and this is generally where Protoss will want to engage, especially because, you know, their Colossus do so much AoE damage, but they do even more AoE if the Terran is not allowed to spread out his infantry. So that's one place, look for Protoss to try to engage at those narrow choke point areas, and that's more towards the mid and late game. So we'll see if Nony decides to go all the way towards the mid late game. Looks like he is going to, as he's throwing down a Cybernetics core and has one gas already fully mining. We have some SCV action in the mineral line. And of course, SCVs without that special advanced technology, which is the Protoss shield, they're not really able to harass very long until they're forced to kind of run away and do their own thing. But as you guys can see, PainUser are going to be going with a 2 racks opening here. He's also throwing down a tech lab on his first barracks. And one thing that I was talking to PainUser about this, and I think this is a very similar build with Select, I believe, where Terran users will like to throw down 2 barracks. They'll pump out a quick Reaper out of the first barracks, and they'll get a conch shell upgrade on the tech lab, and all the while doing that, they'll use the Reaper to get a good scout into the Protoss base, and then they'll go for a fast expand. So it will be a 2 racks FE build, and look for a PainUser to do that. I think he's saving up right now 400 minerals for that command center, and he'll quickly get a Marauder. Yeah, there's a Marauder right after the initial scouting Reaper. Meanwhile, it looks like Nony will be pushing out with 2 Stalkers. His Warp Gate technology is on the way, so it is very well possible that Nony will go for a possible 3-gate, 4-gate opening. No, he's going to be going for a quick Robo Bay, as he does have a double assimilator down. So he is going to be getting that quick obs out to scout what his opponent is doing, and then he will react accordingly. And it looks like PainUser will just barely have enough forces to deal with these 2 Stalkers. That Marauder coming out just in time, and that's the advantage of those quick conch shells slowing down the Stalker. And little did you guys know that the physics behind the concussive shell, this is a little bit of history for you guys. Oh, the Stalker takes a stop to shoot the rocks, and that could have been bad. It could have died as well. But what I wanted to say was the physics behind the conch shell, it actually creates a quantum singularity right when it lands, which I guess is a miniature black hole that sucks units in. I don't like that explanation at all. I just prefer to think of it as it shoots the hamstring of the unit, and it causes it to not have the ability to walk anymore. But anyways, yeah, that's the physics behind the conch shell. Here comes the Reaper coming in, gets 1 probe kill, and it will get a full scout off into Nony's base. It sees the Robo Bay. Obviously, the first unit, 90% of the time, I would say, is the Observer. And there comes the Obs. So PainUser going with that 2-Rax FE build, going to be throwing down 2 more barracks as well. And this is a bit of a variation from the original 1-Rax FE. And a lot of Terran players nowadays feel that 1-Rax FE just isn't safe against a Protoss if they decide to go for 4-gate. So a lot of times Terran players now will go for 2-Raxes before Command Center, and this helps them get a couple more units out to deal with that early Protoss aggression. Meanwhile, it looks like Nony moving his obs in. Obviously, PainUser did see the early robo base, so let's see if he can get a scan down once he gets enough Marines to pick off the obs. Of course, it's very hard to see it. Meanwhile, Nony also getting a Nexus, and he's now gone 3-gate robo. And this is a time for Nony to make some aggressive move, because 3-gate robo does allow you to have a lot of production. Look for an Immortal to come out of the robotics facility. No, Nony will be going for a robotics support base, so he's going to go for very quick Colossi here, or as I like to call it, Coloxin, once they get in a massive amount. And yeah, look for Nony to, I guess he's just going to wait for his Colossus to come out, and then he'll make his push. For now, he is just going to sit back and make sure he can control that early Nexus. PainUser also floating out his command center now, has 2 bunkers down to make sure he can hold on to this front command center. And the one thing that Terrans and Zerg alike have to watch out for on this map, because it's such a wide open natural, is that early Protoss aggression, or just Protoss aggression in general. You are forced to throw up a lot of spine crawlers, get a lot of units, or if you're a Terran, you're forced to get a lot of bunkers, and of course a lot of Marauders and Marines to deal with the Protoss, because it can get such a massive area of attack against this natural expansion. Let's take a look at the income tab. We can see both players dead even at 33 harvesters apiece. Meals, of course, picking up the Terran just a little bit higher. PainUser looks like he will be going for just standard bio play, also adding on a Ghost Academy, no doubt to get that EMP ability from the Ghost, and he is getting the Mobius Reactor, which gives the Ghost an additional 25 energy as soon as they spawn out. First Colossus, by the way, guys, is also on the way. Chrono Boost being used on those Coloxin. I will call it Coloxin once there are 3 or more. That'll be the new rule from now on. But there is the first Colossus, and this will make the army much more powerful. Oh, the SCV, not sure if it saw the Colossus there. That was pretty huge, but I think PainUser can assume that there are Colossus out, although, well, I guess he really cannot. He didn't see the robotic support bay. For all he knows, it could have been Immortals, and right now, notice that Nony is trying to hide the Colossus in the back, but now he is going to reveal it, and PainUser sees what's up. And to deal with that, oh man, PainUser going for Ghosts, and unfortunately, Ghosts are not the correct response against Colossus. EMP Shockwave it's good if your opponent goes for Immortal, but if he's gonna go for Colossus, you need Starport and you need Vikings down. And you guys can see PainUser rushing to get the factory out to get that reactor, and then he's gonna throw down a Starport right away. But yeah, Ghosts are not a very good response if your Protoss is going for Colossus, and there goes a double Starport. PainUser quickly realizing that he needs his Vikings out as soon as possible. And don't get me wrong, Ghosts can still do damage, they can still EMP, they can still hit a lot of the units, but it's much more effective if your enemy Protoss goes for Immortals rather than going for Colossus. So you guys can see PainUser taking a guess, taking a chance, going for early Ghosts. It's not going to pay off as much as he would have liked to, and we'll see what happens. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the camera view, something I don't do all too often, of PainUser as he approaches the Protoss base, and here he goes, laying down a great EMP over the Protoss ball, removing all of those shields, going back to standard view here. The Colossus doing so much damage though. There's all the bio getting wasted away, roasted and burnt into flames, and their ashes just evaporating into the air. PainUser not making the greatest attack, and that's because he just didn't have the Vikings to deal with those Coloxin. As you guys notice, there are now 3 and more. So they are the Coloxin, and unfortunately it didn't work out too well. Here comes an Immortal from Nony as he realizes there are some Marauders in that ball, and he will need a couple of Immortals, not too many. It's important to watch your unit balance. And he'll try to add that on. Meanwhile, it looks like PainUser is throwing down an armory, and this is kind of the new build for Terrans versus Protoss. They will go for Thor Banshee and mix that into the late game. There you guys see 2 Banshees coming out of the Starport, and the reasoning for this is because Thor is so resilient against Protoss. It is so damn strong, and the one thing you can do with Thor Banshee is the Banshees can use Cloak, and then you can scan, and the Thor will automatically target the obs. It takes 2 shots, and the obs will go down instantly. And then, as a result, good scan right there from PainUser. As a result, the Cloaked Banshees can do the damage they need to do. But this is really a late game strategy from the Terran player Thor Banshee, and it might be too late as we take a look at Nony's player cam right now. He's making sure he can try to end the game right now, right here. He's pushing forward with a very large ball of Coloxin and Stalkers combined. PainUser at a very narrow choke right here. This is where the Coloxin love it most. They can do so much AoE damage. The bunker gets obliterated as the Banshees up here, they are just waiting for Cloak. Cloak just now finishing. Now the Banshees can Cloak. I don't think there's an obs in range, and the Banshees here might just save the day for PainUser. It's pushing the Coloxin back, and now it's down to 2 Colossi, and it looks like it's gonna be a very, very close battle. But, oh my goodness, no obs for Nony. Nony doesn't even realize that these 2 Banshees are just pounding away, and the Thor has come out. It is gonna get all of that massive range on that ledge, takes out the Immortal, and even the Colossi now will fall back. Great hold from PainUser, getting out the Cloaked Banshees just in time, and that Thor definitely helping out as well. That guy is, he is on a testosterone high right there. Look at him. He is just rocking out, and he is ready to push out and make something happen for the Terran forces. Nony in a lot of trouble. Both players, it's standard 49 to 50 harvesters, 50 to 50 now. But looking at the army tab, you guys can see Nony at a measly 84. PainUser now at 104 after holding off all those Colossus or Coloxin. And he has been doing just a great job. He is now going to secure the gold expansion, and this is something that no player wants to face up against. When a Terran player turtles on Xel'Naga Caverns and gets the gold income running, it is extremely difficult to deal with this, especially if the Terran has siege tanks, and that's something that PainUser doesn't really have at this point. But of course, it is difficult to go for tanks if you're going for this gas-heavy Thor Banshee build. You guys can see now 4 Banshees in the mix, 1 Thor on the ground, and a Planetary Fortress. As soon as PainUser gets these bunkers up and the Planetary Fortress, that location is going to be impregnable by the Protoss forces. And Nony will have to try to play an economic game if he's going to try to win this in the long run. Right now, Nony, let's take a look at these upgrades. We can see 0 for ground for Nony. Wow, I was expecting more upgrades than that. And PainUser also at 0, so neither player spending even the smallest inkling in gas or resources to get that, to get those upgrades going. Every single unit counts at this stage in the game. And so, ooh, look at this. PainUser gonna be bringing around a side attacking army. Let's go ahead and take a look at his cam once again. I actually really like to do this because it frees up my fingers. I don't have to move the camera myself. And it gives us a little bit of a dizziness effect. But there you guys see a Raven on the production tab. I like the Ravens. That PDD can be oh so helpful. There you guys see an attack coming now from PainUser as he goes around the backside. This is what I was talking about. But Nony wisely erecting a couple of pylons here to prevent the forces from running around. They are going to get a couple probe kills, but I don't know if this was really worth it. I don't think so, as PainUser sacks away about 400 minerals and I'd say about 100 gas worth of units, maybe 300 minerals, 100 gas, and only kills off about 3 or 4 probes. But the nice thing is it has forced Nony to kind of watch his back. He has to play on the back foot, whereas PainUser can continue to pump those harvesters. As you guys see, 2 harvesters, they're continuing to come out. And he can max out his army of Thor Banshee. Now has 2 Thors with a ton of Banshees. And here is the real threat, as watch when the battle occurs. I will bet that PainUser will throw down that comsat. The Thors will immediately take out the obs. And then the Cloaked Banshees can go to work on the Protoss army. And that is something that Nony is really going to have to watch out for. Going back to Nony's point of view right now, he's got a very Zealot heavy army. No doubt he's going to try to deal with the Thors with that Zealot charge, but I don't know if it's going to work out all that well. He also just finished Templar Archives right there, so he will be trying to get some side storm action down. Keep in mind, feedback is very good against Banshees as well. And it looks like, oh man, Nony gonna be going around the backside. Gonna switch back to all view right now, as it looks like he is going to try to go around the back. 2 Cloaked Banshees will detect this. They will see the army coming in, and now PainUser can mobilize. Watch for the scan. There goes the comsat, and the obs is gonna get taken down. Oh, the obs gets taken down, and now the Cloaked Banshees can go to work. There you guys see the Banshees all cloaking as soon as the obs fell, and now PainUser is gonna take out this army from Nony. Nony, unfortunately, just, I guess he really fell behind after that last battle at the natural of the Terran player, and now everything is just falling apart for Nony. The cloaked Banshee's doing way too much damage, and Nony is going to GG as he realizes that the Terran army was pushing in, Psystorm never quite finishing on time, and PainUser doing a very good job. Let's take a look at some of these tabs here. APM, Nony at Nony at 207 average throughout the game. Absolutely incredible. Whereas PainUser was at 131. You guys can see the army tabs as well. PainUser way ahead after that last battle. And that was game 1, day 2 MLG Dallas. There will be a game 2 and possibly a game 3. So make sure you guys stay tuned. This is a best of 3 series, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game. HD signing out for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that broadcast. Make sure to subscribe if you guys like what you see.